So I said I was going to be going into a topic, and I'm not really going to take y'all deep into the scriptures today, but I'm going to reference it. The topic that I said earlier in the show was God is able. And sometimes people just say it as just a figure of speech. Yo, man, I'm going through, but God is able, dog. God is able. Well, let's make sure we know what God is able to do. Because what we were saying is, depending on where you are in life, whatever age you are, whatever generation you are, you're going through challenges and tests, and you're dealing with life. And life itself has so many things that goes on that sometimes if you allow those things to dictate your emotions or your feelings or your joy, sometimes we can be down in the mud. And that's where people get too deep into depression and not excited about life, and unfortunately experience thoughts of suicide, and that's taking it to the extreme. But when we say God is able to do what? God is able, I would say this, to do exactly what needs to be done in your life for that time and that moment. So if you are a young teenager, if you are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you're going through life experiences. And I always look at it from the perspective of the Word of God, how God positions us to go through things. He's not bringing bad things and bad situations to us, but He is there to navigate us through life. And when things change around us, we need to be able to flow with it, regardless of whatever we're experiencing. So I'm just referencing Daniel chapter 6. If you are familiar with Daniel chapter 6, then you're going to be on point to understand what I'm about to talk about. If you never read Daniel chapter 6, go read Daniel chapter 6 and then replay this segment and you'll get an understanding. Daniel was growing in the things that God had given him, growing in favor with the king, and he was just rocking out, doing his leadership thing. And the others heard that, he's getting ready to get a promotion, man. He outperforming us. He's doing his thing. We got to set him up. So what they created was this, thing that went on that say that no one can pray to their God. And Daniel was trapped in a decision to say, how can I get out of this situation when I know I have a prayer life and I know I talk to God and I pray to God? Well, what he did do was stay consistent. He believed that God was able to deliver him from the punishment of going against what the king had signed off on by these tricksters who was trying to get Daniel out of there. And what it was to get tossed into a den of lions. And lions, they in the biblical days, they wasn't like these little pussycats we got that's so furry and cuddly. They was ready to rip you just tear you from limb to limb, just dominate you and shred you up. But what Daniel did when he heard that the decree was signed, my man opened up his windows and he prayed to God 3 times a day. And I'm still paraphrasing, I'm going off the top. So if I'm slipping and sliding, I told you, read Daniel chapter 6 for yourself and you'll be able to pick up everything. And once they found him praying, they brought him to the king, said, we caught this guy praying. What are you going to do about it? And the king is like, trying to figure out a way to deliver him. And finally, they said, time is up, king. He got to go into that den of lions. So they tossed him in there. They covered it up and said, all right, the deal is done. But the king couldn't sleep that night. So he was pacing and just hoping that Daniel would be there in the morning. So sure enough, early in the morning, he flew out there. And Daniel, he yells into the joint, Daniel, servant of the Most High God, was he able to keep you alive? And he yelled back, yes, O king. My God did shut the mouth of the lions. So you're saying to yourself, what in the world does that got to do with God is able? Exactly. God is able to deliver. God is able to save. God is able to heal. So he's able to do those monumental, massive, big things. But he's also able to take care of those small situations that may just be bothering you or bothering me, that we can go to God. Like, let's have an active prayer life. That prayer life that Daniel had kept him on point and kept him locked in, so that he was able to move with the Spirit of God and however he needed to do life. And we need to duplicate that. So that's all I really got to say. Yo, so we thank y'all for rocking out with us this Sunday, man.